I just had to Google how to use Audacity and how the Blue Yeti microphone works.
How does podcast?
Do you even podcast, bro?
No. It seems like it seems pretty
do you even
self-explanatory.
weeb, bro?
Patrick, I'm too hot in this blanket. What do
We
I do?
be weeping, bro.
What do you want from me?
We be weeping.
We be weebin!
We be weeping.
Hey! Welcome to the first episode of Weebin. I'm your host, Patchy T. Joining me on this week of podcast, we have, to my left, Billy Houghton.
Hey, my name is Billy. What's up, guys?
To my right, Joshua Dutch. How's it going, Josh?
Hey, it's going good. Local Asian man here, serving up animes.
Hell yeah.
Like a secret Asian man.
And we have our token woman, Anne.
Hey, I'm Anne, and I'm a woman.
Cut that part out.
No.
It seemed like a sexist immediately. And we got our local newbie, Dan Dick. How you doing?
Hi, I'm resident dumbass over here. I know nothing.
Dan's not a newbie. He just hasn't completed a lot of shows.
Yeah, I'm just not
That sounds like a... How is that different?
Hey, he doesn't get
Because he's watched
anime.
anime.
He can't be one of us.
I get anime.
He's not a straight virgin to anime.
Yeah.
He's watched Digimon.
He's
Right.
dabbled, I guess.
I've gotten to second base. One time.
My God.
Alrighty.
This is horrifying. And we got our people on the couch, Tyler and Andrew. What's up?
What up, guys? Hey!
That first one was Tyler. The hey was Pinky. They're
Andrew,
the side wife.
Andrew also knows Pinky.
Yeah, don't pay attention to them. They're not real people, so they don't
They're
get
the
to sit
voices
at
in
the
our
table.
We're all secretly schizophrenic.
It's not a secret. Okay, so let's talk about what this podcast is going to be.
What are we doing?
So we're going to talk
Why are we
about
here?
anime. We're going to talk about why we like anime, why we think anime should be more respected.
Taught in schools.
Taught in schools.
We should introduce anime running in PE class. Straight arms to the back.
We need to start doing shadow clone techniques. It's going to be like a self-defense class.
All right. So the theme of this first episode is anime art? What do you guys?
Yes.
No shit.
Yeah. I mean, we're
It's
doing
a
an
drawing.
anime podcast.
All right.
That seems.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. This
All
has been
right.
the first episode of Weebin. See you all next week.
Billy, what is anime?
So, to me, do we want to just talk about, like, is anime art, or, like, what is anime to me on a personal level?
No, right now what I want to hear is just what is anime.
Okay,
Just
so
an
anime
overview.
is basically a Japanese cartoon. It's the stuff you used to see on Toonami all the time. That was the more mainstream American stuff. Since then, it's grown a lot more popular. Normally we see stuff on Adult Swim, or you steal it online. But it's been around since, like, the early 70s. It started with, like, and it's probably been around before that in reality, but that's when, like, moving pictures happened. So it started with, like, stuff like Gundam. That was kind of everyone's first thing. Speed Racer. Astro Boy could technically be called one. That's essentially what started off. And then now it's moved into stuff that we're going to talk about today, like One Punch Man, Boku no Hero, Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z is probably everyone around here has heard of that. So
You
those
see
are...
the new movie?
Yeah, I did see the new movie.
Was it good?
It was really good.
It is
so
really.
I'm going to say right now, I haven't really kept up with watching all of Dragon Ball, but I try and watch all the movies because normally they come to theaters near me. It's on the big screen, and to me, it's a pretty good way to, like, stay in the Dragon Ball game and know what's happening without watching 1,000 episodes.
Yeah, that's fair.
But should we point out that anime over in Japan is not like any special form of cartoon? It just means animation.
Yeah,
Right?
they just like
Am
they
I wrong,
refer to
or
like
is that-
Family Guy as
you're right.
anime.
Yeah. Okay.
You're right.
Because that's just their word for it.
King of Hill is my favorite anime. Peggy Hill is my waifu. So, just saying.
Oh, dang it, What?
Damn it to Bobby.
All right. Let's go around the table. I just want to know what your guys' like first dip into anime was.
What popped our anime cherry?
What got you into it? What some of your first shows were?
And let's not talk about the stuff that, like, we obviously all saw Dragon Ball on TV at some point. Like,
I
what made
didn't.
you think, like, now I'm watching anime, this is, like, this wants to make me keep going?
Yeah, let's refrain from Pokemon.
Well,
Josh, what do you got?
my first anime was Naruto back when it was first starting to air. Back when we were all in middle school. My brothers had downloaded it onto their computers. I was like, "What is this?" So I started watching it. I'm like, "They're speaking Japanese," and like all these like ninjas and like all these guys like flying everywhere. And the emotional characters. That was when they went on that one mission where there was like a bunch of fog on the bridge and one of them died and they were like it was the main character's rival and he started crying like a little bitch and I was like, wow, this is amazing.
I can relate to this as a
He's
child.
just like me. So that was my first dive into anime.
All right, and what do you got? First anime.
My first anime, all the way back to middle school. I had some
Far off year
anime
of
friends
2003.
and like people who watched anime, not like made up anime friends in my head. And they're like, they got me into reading manga first. And
What's manga?
Manga is like
Isn't that how
the
David
drawn,
Carradine died?
the like it's like the comic book version is the best way I can put that. Anyhow, I started reading that first of like Fruits Basket and they're like, hey, check this out. And I was like, it's pretty good. And yeah, and it was something to do. So and that just turned into a really fast downward spiral into anime.
It's a roller coaster.
Yeah, to the point where I was just like on YouTube looking up like all this obscure shit. And then at one point, like, I grew self-awareness of how weird my friends were about it. And I was like, wait a minute.
Weird how like super.
Something's happened here.
In your head, it plays
Japanese.
No, super,
Against it?
no, what were they like? They were, yeah, they were super into it. They were,
Weirdos?
yeah, that's what they call them.
Fanboys, fangirls.
They were like socially unaware of what they were doing. Like they would be the kind of people running around with the arms back, like Naruto. They didn't actually do that. But they would like try to they were the actual definition of weeaboo, where they would like try to incorporate Japanese words and like the way the phrases are said in anime in like real life. Oh god.
So they're the kind of people who like got bullied for liking anime, probably. versus,
Probably, and didn't realize that it was probably because the way they actually just acted.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they were pretty good friends, and I do occasionally, like once every 2 years, talk to them. Like, hey, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Wanna watch anime?
Right? No, they don't watch anime anymore. Actually, it's really weird. I'm the
gone
only one.
straight.
I'm the only one who
gone
still
rogue.
does.
They're
So
sober.
something must have happened.
They cleansed the disease from
Yeah.
their lives.
I went to rehab.
Dan, how about you?
We're not counting Pokemon or Digimon.
No.
Let's talk about your recent bout into anime, because you're pretty new to it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would see it in passing with you guys.
Right.
I would be like, oh, this is cool. I don't know what's going on. Now I have to read. What? No, but it was... Attack on Titan was the first one I actually started watching and paying attention to.
It's a good
and
choice.
finished.
That's
It's
heavy.
pretty solid.
It's fucking heavy.
Yeah, it was.
I've never seen it, but it's pretty solid.
Yeah, like the first episode, these people are getting eaten by giant people,
Fuck
and they're all
yeah,
smiling.
dude.
The giants are smiling while doing it.
God, I
It's
told you I was
scary.
hungry.
It's creepy. But
So you're not
It-
into vor?
I don't know what that is.
Oh.
Oh,
Let's save that for another episode.
Okay, alright.
Oh, no,
Next
okay.
episode.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just going to be serving as your test subjects for most of this.
Alright.
But yeah, Attack on Titan. That was all because of a date. It was like one of those Netflix and chill things. I hated it.
Oh.
But the show was great. So that was fun. But the
Nice.
date was awful.
Let me ask you real quick.
sucks.
What were some other things that people tried to like force you to watch to like get you into anime over the years?
Hunter x Hunter.
Hate it.
Really?
Don't. I just it never clicked with me. I don't know.
Trigun.
Love it.
That's
people,
a classic.
People kept saying, "Oh, watch Trigun, watch Trigun." I'm like, no. Attack on Titan was pushed a lot.
That was when that came out. That was a very popular show
That's probably
when it
why.
came out.
Yeah. And then Tyler would always push me to watch One Piece, and then he told me the episode length. I'm like, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, that's kind of what scares me about it too.
Yeah, those super long hauls. I
But,
don't
like,
think I can commit to yet.
I've watched
Yeah.
like a couple episodes of it. And I'm like, yeah, this is really good. And then I'm just like, oh man, but like 700 episodes. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a time commitment. I need to start off small and work my way up.
That's how I feel. I love shows that are like 2 seasons and done because personally I feel like if they can't wrap it up in like under 100 episodes, then they're just fucking with me. They're just trying to fill.
Then you become The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
End that shit, AMC. It was good.
We're
You had a
calling you
good
out.
thing.
Hot take alert.
Oh, and Sword Art Online was pushed a lot.
I mean, that was my first anime. That was like, it was pretty good at the time I was watching it. I'd say like the first bit of it was like, I would still like to watch that. But then the second
That's
arc
when they're all
came-
trapped in a game, right?
Yeah. When they're trapped in a game, it's good. And then when they get out of the game, and then they go into another game, and then just like fucking around, and they're like, oh hey, the best character? Let's entrap her and write her out the whole thing. That didn't seem like a very good decision.
That was immediately when I fell off of the whole thing. I was like, didn't they just rescue her? I'm
Yeah.
out.
Reminds me of Spy Kids 3D.
It kind of is exactly Spy Kids 3D.
Well, hell yeah, I'm on. I'm on board. Let's do this.
So my first anime, I had like kind of two introductions. The first one, I was like in Indiana for a family trip. I was sleeping in my cousin's room because it was a bed, and he was out of town because he was in college. And so he had this thing in his room that was terrifying to me. It was like a Halloween decoration, and like it kept me up all night. So I was like, if I'm going to stay up all night, then I gotta do something. And he happened to have all of the Fullmetal Alchemist DVDs at the time. So I went through and watched like, I think maybe like 15 episodes in one night just because I was terrified of this thing lurking like in the corner of his room. The second time was a little bit later because I never really finished that show. It was interesting at the time, but it was
long one.
It's not too long, but I fell off it.
Was
just
it the
because-
original Fullmetal Alchemist?
Yeah, and it was before people like, unless you were a serious internet pirate, like people didn't know how to steal things online. So I didn't. So I just never really saw it again after that. The next time after that was right around when Netflix became like a big thing, and they had Ouran High School Host Club on there.
Oh yeah.
And I watched that covered front to back, and
Didn't we watch that together?
yeah, I think you showed me that, and that's when I was like, okay, I guess I'm into like different stuff because before that, all I thought of anime was like fighting shows like Dragon Ball and Naruto and Fullmetal Alchemist, and then Ouran High School Host Club came out about a reverse harem, and I was like, okay, I've got many interests and many different paths to explore. So the things that I start off were Ouran High School Host Club, Mushishi, and other than that, I like really dark animes, like things that make me emotionally either sad or tragic stuff. I don't know why, they just get my dick hard.
Oh jeez. Oh jeez. What about you guys over there on
Hey,
the couch?
sidecast.
Well, my first anime was Full Metal Alchemist.
All right, cool. Andrew?
Brutal.
Same actually.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
The original or Brotherhood?
The original. I still yet to watch Brotherhood. Actually.
What's the difference?
Watched both.
One of them follows the original manga closer. So when it first came out, it followed the original manga or comics, and then it just tapered off into its own thing. Brotherhood follows it pretty much directly.
Okay, so real quick, anime is really weird because when something gets really popular, normally it gets a lot of people looking at it. So like that, the original adaptation of Fullmetal Alchemist was really, really popular, and so they decided, let's make it all over from the beginning. Let's follow the manga. Then there are other shows that everyone loves. Everyone's into it. Everybody's watching it or stealing it, and they're like, that's all you're gonna get. And they never do a second season at all. And they're like, boom, 10 episodes, that's all you get, motherfucker. And
Yeah, I think it's
Samurai Champloo.
yeah.
I think it's something weird about like anime in and of itself does not really make money. It's all about the merch and
selling the manga.
Yeah, and selling the manga. So
Yeah, fueling the fandom.
yeah,
Would you say?
yeah, I'd say so.
So, like, let's say that 90% of people steal anime, or they don't steal it, but they watch it on a streaming website where the website gets ad revenue, but they didn't really pay to put that anime on their
Right.
website. So, like, while a whole lot of America watches the shows now, it's not like Japan's getting any revenue from any of that. So, that's the reason why really popular shows might be dead in the water as soon as the season ends, because, like,
Oh, dude, that's crummy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because if a small company didn't have the money to make merch and therefore sell merch about it, then it could have blown up and been really popular, but it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
why they're like, oh, hey, we're not going to end this, but read the manga. and please pay for it.
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
interesting. So, I mean, we could probably cover this in a later episode.
We definitely will.
But is there, like, copyright cases about that, of uploading anime onto websites and just letting people stream? You say that the ad revenue probably isn't going to the...
yeah, the websites constantly have to change, like, domains because they get taken down for
No, so they are
copyright
flat
and
out,
stuff.
like,
So,
illegal.
yeah.
Yeah, they're pirating.
Yeah,
They're
like
pirating.
normally they'll be like favoriteanimewebsite.com. Then a couple months later it'll be like favoriteanimewebsite.tv. Then a couple months later it'll be favoriteanimewebsite.ru for Russia, because now it's a Russian domain, and like they have to just do these little tricks to like kind of stay up.
Yeah. Trying to stay ahead of it
Yeah.
as much as they
Yeah.
can.
Well, that
It's-
sucks.
And so when you
It's interesting.
find a really good site, we probably won't throw out our favorite websites to steal stuff on this podcast. But when
No,
you
yeah.
find a good one, keep track of it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because
Try to follow it as best
that's
as you
your
can.
lifeline into the anime world.
Yeah, as
Exactly.
a resident newbie, I've only really watched most of my anime from Netflix and other streaming sites like that.
Netflix
Yeah.
and Hulu,
And
both,
let's,
I think, have good selections.
Let's do shout out to Crunchyroll, because Crunchyroll
Oh,
has
yeah,
a shit ton
Crunchyroll.
of stuff and no one has it.
Oh yeah,
Because
when
it-
when you
it's
pay
money.
for Crunchyroll, you're actually paying for anime, and like people get revenue off of it, and so sites like Crunchyroll actually help. I don't know, the Japanese conquest into making sweet, sweet American Dara.
Awesome.
All right, so
All right.
let's dip into our first segment, which is an and segment.
Oh, yeah.
You ready for this?
Oh yeah, I
It's-
sure am, pops.
Here, should I actually ask, set this up?
Yeah.
Since I'm the resident noob. You're like, hey, Ann,
Hey, how are you doing, Dan?
I'm doing awful, alright? I'm in the dumps, and I just need a good distraction. And I heard anime is a good thing to kind of just sink yourself into and mellow out and just get sucked into some good storytelling. But I also heard there's a lot of weird stuff.
This
So
is unrealistic. No
How do I-
one, no one wants to
Hey.
start anime.
Patrick, shut up!
we're doing a bit.
sorry.
Play along with the bit.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks, Patrick.
How to get Dan out of depression.
Yeah, so how do I
And-
start?
Well, slow
Where do we
down
start?
there, partner.
Oh boy.
If you go right into anime, you're gonna scare yourself.
I'm already scared.
My job as someone who already watches anime, and I want to create more people who watch anime, I need to trick you into liking it. So I have a special recipe on how to get people hooked into anime.
Perfect.
You start first with something that is mainstream and funny, such as One Punch Man. This way, the person who's watching it can be like, oh yeah, I don't like anime, but I watch One Punch Man because it's funny and like everyone else watches it. And that's good and all. So then you put them into something a little heavier, a little bit also mainstream and everything, but not as funny, but something that's just as good and thrilling, such as like Death Note. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I still don't like anime, but Death Note's pretty good. And then you fucking hit them with shit. You go into something like Future Diaries or Steins Gate's actually pretty good. There are some like
Steins
anime,
Gate's
like
good.
yeah.
Still haven't seen it.
On
my
really?
list. On my list.
It's
On my
one of those
list.
ones.
When I met you, I mentioned Steins Gate. You're like, oh yeah, I love that.
Did I?
Yeah, but you might have been really drunk or something.
Billy's a fucking liar.
Yeah, true. Anywho.
Anyhow,
What's weird about those shows?
weird about them.
Yeah, why are they?
Well, I mean, they got
They're
some of
just heavily anime.
yeah, they got the anime tropes that tend to scare
Like
people.
it's not
Nice.
so much just like here's a
They're good
fun
shows.
fighty show.
Yeah.
Like they're definitely anime.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
They're good stories. They're good shows. They just have some anime cliches in them that can be a little embarrassing, but not like that doesn't take away from the stories or the shows.
That's a line they keep repeating in the show.
Anyhow, that's how, and then they're kind of free to roam after that, because they're after that they're gonna, after those three kind of like whatever you put in those like topics or whatever they're called, they're going to start looking themselves.
So
They're already hooked. So
Yeah.
give me each stage for me personally. What should I start out with? And then
You should just start out with One Punch Man.
Okay.
Yeah,
One Punch
that's
Man.
funny. I think you'll like it.
Have you not seen that one yet?
You'll have a giggle.
You started me a couple episodes at my first ASIN a few years ago.
let me ask you this:
Yeah.
do you have Netflix?
I do.
Then One Punch Man is on Netflix. It's
Perfect.
probably the easiest one to access. That's how I like to
There
start
is
people
a-
off with.
Yep.
It's also
Okay.
in English, if that's your fancy.
Okay. All right. So after One Punch Man, I finished that. I dig it.
Mm.
I'm ready for more. What are you suggesting after that?
It's called Monster Musume.
I feel like you're fucking with me.
I am.
Definitely fucking with it.
Well, I probably would just stick to what I actually already suggested. So like Death Note, and then
Okay,
I
then
wouldn't
Death
do
Note.
not Future Diaries for you. I don't think you would.
No?
Yeah, Future Diaries is too much.
I would
Oh, boy.
I would go into
I
Steins
don't
Gate
like it.
actually for
Steins
you.
Gate?
It's a little bit more serious. Maybe
All right.
Cowboy Bebop actually is another good second one.
That's a good.
That's a classic.
That could even be used as a first because that one's so good.
I heard
Pinky
that
is
was really
freaking
good.
out for Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, you pushed that one because it has so much like jazz involved.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
like
the
the
soundtrack
music.
is very jazzy.
The music is amazing. Same thing for One Punch Man. Like sometimes I just go back and listen to One Punch Man soundtrack. What's his face? The guy with really deep voice. I think he voiced Wolverine. He voices the main character in Cowboy Bebop.
Cool.
I forgot what his
Another
name is.
Spike?
Yeah, he voices Spike. Yeah.
In the same vein as Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo is a very good one that kind of came out around the same time, and so typically when I think of Cowboy Bebop, I think of similar shows that came
I
out.
think
around
it came
the same
out
time.
later, but was
Like not too far later though.
was
like,
worked on by some similar people.
Like what I
Maybe?
think they both showed up on Adult Swim around the same time.
Yeah.
more
Oh,
so.
I don't know. I don't know anything.
If you want something,
I wasn't allowed to watch TV as a kid.
following like this
was raised by wolves.
this recipe. I think a good stage 2. If you don't want something heavy for your stage 2, something that's like really ridiculous and kind of like intense, but not like too intense, is Gurren Lagann. So like it starts off like very small.
Is that the pronunciation?
Yeah.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've always called it Gurren Lagann.
oops.
That's just the
Doesn't
way I do
matter.
it.
Us
Yeah,
whites
according,
always stealing words.
according to the heritage that people assume me to be.
Wait, how much Japanese are you? Cut that part out.
4,000%. Gurren Lagann starts off like in like a really underground. It starts off kind of dark, but eventually it scales like and it escalates to such an insane degree that by the end, like people are literally hurling galaxies at each other.
What?
Yeah, it's amazing, and it has.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, so like
I want
it's
to hurl galaxies.
it's
Yeah.
Dude.
How old is the main character in that show?
like isn't he like 8 or 9 or 12 or something?
Yeah, there's a
You talking about the kid?
no. There's a girl in that show who
she's
everyone's
like
like,
14.
she is so hot. Oh my god, look at the
Oh,
boobs, and
the-
she's like 13 years old. That's all I know about that show.
The
Like-
chick in the red bikini or whatever?
Oh yeah, like on the
yeah.
main cover, people
Yeah.
are always like, "Woohoo!" And
You're
then,
losing
Yeah.
them.
That is
They're
a-
getting scared.
They're getting scared.
This is
side
just
of
something-
anime we'll cover later.
That's what I always make fun of Game of Thrones people when they start saying like, "Oh, Daenerys is so hot." I'm like, "Isn't she like 12 in the books?"
Well, fuck you, Dan.
Sorry.
You know who thought she was hot? Her brother.
Oh, God. Dude, that show. When are they gonna turn that into an anime?
Ooh.
Dan, I have the ultimate level for you for when you've peaked
Yeah, when
in
I peaked.
anime.
Okay.
And here it is. Your Lie in April. It
Oh
is-
god.
It is the show that'll make you kill yourself.
Wait, is that the one about calligraphy?
No.
That's another
That's
good
Barakamon. That's a really good one. I love that one. That's probably my favorite. But Your Lie in April is about music, which is why I think you would
Okay.
appreciate it. It's about a guy who's really good at piano, but then his mother is like crazy, like oppressive about it. She's like, you have to practice every day, all the time. And so he develops this condition where he can't even hear his own music. So he'll be playing and it feels like he's underwater to him.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like hell.
Yeah. It's hell watching it because...
By the way,
it
Dan
gets-
does music. That's probably
Yeah,
why this
well,
is relevant.
Yeah.
Surprise.
But it gets real fucked up.
Really fast.
Not really like... I mean, it's a 22 episode show. I'd say the halfway point is when it starts getting like really... You start getting sad and stuff.
Let me start with One Punch
But
Man.
yeah,
I'll get back to you next.
that'll be way
episode.
farther down the line.
Yeah.
So Anne, how many people have you weebified with this little recipe?
With your
of yours?
method.
One.
Yes! Yourself.
Follow this 3-step program.
You said you had the perfect recipe.
Hey, I'll be
It
the
is a
guinea pig.
perfect
It's-
recipe. That person never could have been a weeb without
it's
me.
never...
I'll
never
try it.
failed.
Out
I'll get back
of
to
one
you.
person sample size, 100% of those people are now beeps.
Yeah.
Tune in next week to see our update on Dan.
Yeah.
No, I feel like I might have done it like
Yeah.
on someone else, but I can't really remember
Yeah.
who it was.
How do you feel about the people who are like, oh, you gotta see this anime, and then they show you something like Monster Musume, and it's your first thing you've ever seen, and like it's obviously scaring them away? What do you have to say to those people?
Fuck you.
You, like, what do I have to say to the people who suggested it, or the people who had watched it?
Yeah,
someone
because I
suggested
feel
it?
like
No, that was not a yes or no question. Please clarify.
to the people who have been shown something that is
Okay.
horrific, and you're trying to reel them back in while they're far away from the hook.
All right. Well, first you set them down. You're like, I'm really sorry that happened to you. I just want to let you know that not all animes are this way.
support.
I was also molested.
Yeah.
Cut that part out.
Look, here's an anime you can watch and not be embarrassed about. So go ahead and watch this, and you can start getting into it. And then, before you know it, they'll actually go back to Monster Musume.
You can be my friend again.
Yeah.
So the last thing I want to say on this, I'm one of those people who doesn't hang out in their room. If I'm watching something, it's like in the living room. So
Like the family room where everybody's passing through.
yeah, so like there are shows that where definitely like, ooh, I gotta turn this one off because my mom's doing laundry like right in the next room. Or even like, ooh, someone's cooking dinner in the kitchen and there's a window fading into this room, and then here's, you know, Monster Musume happening or something like that. So every like
Wait, so you're
when I
saying
was
not
getting,
every anime show is age appropriate
it's not even
for all ages?
most of them aren't age appropriate. Like, there are a lot of different reasons you might have to turn off whatever show you're watching. So it's very nice to start somebody on something that, like, if their parents walked into the room, they won't have to kill themselves because their mom saw, like, a scene where you're brushing your teeth or something,
Oh,
for
God.
instance, from a certain anime. So
Honey,
I'm catching your drift.
I caught Tommy. He's watching anime. Oh my God. Speaking of which, what shows are you guys watching right now?
I haven't been watching that much. I'm watching the the current season of Sword Art.
I think
Even
that's season
though
3.
it's not great, honestly. They haven't.
you're still in it?
Yeah, I just like I saw it was on Hulu. I'm like, I got Hulu. Try this.
It's just one of those you just whatever.
Yeah, I haven't been watching a lot of stuff. I need to get more into it since we're doing a podcast, and that probably seems like a good place to start.
All in due time.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Josh, what are you watching right now?
I'm just about to finish up second season of Assassination Classroom, which, as someone who is a teacher, that show like actually speaks a lot to me, and like I've drawn like legitimately have drawn a lot of like inspiration as a teacher to like use in my
You
lessons.
give all your students BB guns.
Yes,
and
I get, and then like,
kill
if
you.
you can kill me,
You can kill me.
I won't blow up the planet.
exactly.
Wait, so was the teacher a bad guy in the show, or
He's like kind of a bad guy.
He's the best bad guy.
He's
Yeah,
an emoji though.
So like they take like this like weird idea of like an anti-hero and like to a weird level. So this guy he like is an octopus, a yellow octopus, and he threatened to blow up the planet a year from the beginning of the show.
And he started off by blowing up the moon.
Yeah,
The moon
so now
has
the
a
moon's
big
a-
hole in it.
Permanent crescent moon.
wow?
Yeah, and this guy can travel at
So
Mach
that's
20
affecting the
speed.
tides.
Right.
Yeah, it does. They talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
They're like, most of the fish are dead. And like,
So he can travel at Mach 20 speeds, and his one deal breaker with the Japanese government was, I'm going to teach this class in this prep school, like they're the bottom of the rung, and if they can kill me, I won't blow up the planet because I'll be dead. And the whole time, like, he's teaching these kids about how to be the best assassins that they can, and using that as like a doorway into like finding their passions and like just making them functioning members of society, because this class is nicknamed the end class, where like these kids are like they're pretty much like the delinquents of the school. Like there's no hope for them. Like even some of their parents have given up hope on them. So like this teacher comes in, he's like, you're not useless. This is a cool thing that you have. So let's like dive into this and then like kind of expand outward and show you that you can use this skill set
To kill me.
To kill me, yeah, exactly, yeah.
see,
It's a metaphor, Patrick. That's what I'm picking
It's
up on.
amazing.
I don't think
Algebra
it's a
does help.
metaphor.
I think it's a metaphor, but that's just because I'm a teacher. And like it's super inspirational. So yeah, that's Assassination Classroom.
Actually, I really want to watch that.
It's a lot of fun.
I enjoyed that one.
What about you?
And?
Okay, so I kind of told you guys about this the other day. Like, I was watching
footsie with me?
something,
Sorry. I was trying to do
and
this.
I forgot the name of it. I don't know how to spell it, so I can't find it. But it was just, like, a little, like, vintage, cute little anime about, like a romance anime. Like, this girl, like, pretends to be perfect and everything, and she...
Sounds like Future Dad.
She's no. She pretends to be perfect, and she's actually just kind of a slob and everything in real life. And like this guy finds out that she's just kind of like she's definitely like a bitch slob.
So is she catfishing this man?
Nah, but she has a crush on him because I think if I recall correctly, he's also the same way. But then she like I don't know, it's a romance thing, so it's like
I think I've actually seen an episode of that.
yeah, like she has like brown hair and a headband.
Before.
I don't know.
Okay, never mind.
We'd have to look into it later.
Those
Anyhow,
of you,
other than that,
our listeners could possibly help us out in the comments.
yes.
Are we gonna have comments?
have
Where are we
comments?
posting this?
just you know,
Everywhere.
they'll
man.
email us comments. We'll put them on the wall. So yeah, right. So I guess right now, while I try to find the remains of that, which I haven't tried really hard, I'm also just like trying to find any like retro or vintage like anime that's good to watch, because I really
How retro?
I really love the style of like the 70s and 80s and 90s.
You should consider checking out the original Astro Boy in black and white. It's just kind of ridiculous because they're like in the far off year of 2001, and like and there's like flying cars and stuff. I started watching it and it's kind of like so goofy that it's like now it's hilarious because of like it's kind of like camp, bad, goofy,
Yeah.
good because of it. I don't know.
Yeah, there's some really good old ones. Like Metropolis is pretty aesthetically appealing in my opinion. And then what's the one with the little white lion? What's its name?
No idea.
Ping Pong the animation.
No.
Hello, boy.
But this is one of
Hello,
those older
boy.
ones from the 70s.
Yeah, it's basically the Lion King, but
Do you use
definitely
my
better
anime
before-
list?
no.
Okay.
You should.
I should have got.
It's a
It's
good
super
way
nice.
to keep track of your anime, especially when people are like, watch this, and you're like, okay, and you're never gonna. But maybe in like 4 years, you'll check it out.
Exactly.
I guess I shall use my anime list.
I think it's currently broken, but
Oh, okay.
it's alive. I'm not sure. It
No,
went down
I-
for a
I
while.
used
I
it
w-
the other
I don't
day.
think it was ever down. I think the app that we were using was down.
Yeah. But you can, the app was broken. That's
Yeah,
it.
but
But
now we
there's
have
you can
another
still
app.
go to like the main website.
Yeah.
Dan, are you currently watching anything?
I'm currently watching One Punch Man right now.
Right now.
Right now, wow.
Yeah, I
He's
pulled
got
it
it pulled
up.
up.
I got it
Nice.
pulled up right now.
It could be anything. It doesn't have to be anime.
Welcome to the live reaction.
I'm seriously watching One Punch
You're
Man
actually
right
watching
now.
it
It is
right
on the freaking screen.
All right. Well, he took your advice to heart.
live reaction
Yes.
podcast as we watch one.
Here we go. Yeah, that's it.
Oh yeah,
that's
One-
him.
His origin story, I just love
Don't
it
stream
so
it from
much.
there. It's on
But-
Netflix.
I absolutely love the theme song for it.
has
I just
good
love that
music.
one part.
I know what
Yeah,
Tyler's
so-
watching.
Tyler, what are you watching right now?
Well, I'm currently watching 2 shows.
Ooh.
I
He's double fisting.
started One Piece for the 3rd time.
Third
About,
time. How many episodes is
700
that?
episodes in.
Ooh.
Actually reached 699 today.
How long is the whole
Nice.
series?
Don't remember if it was 7 or 800.
Episodes?
I think it's 878 right now.
My God.
But then I am also watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And I just started that one.
I like
Watching
JoJo.
in chronological order.
But see, I watch JoJo, but I'm not a good anime watcher. I asked my sister, who was watched all the way through, I was like, when does it like get good? She's like, Stardust Crusaders. And so I immediately skipped right to there. Just because like I didn't know if I was going to stick with it. So
See, I've watched a little bit of JoJo and I liked it, but like I wasn't committed. Damn, do I love the memes that come from it?
right. That's I didn't
I
think
wanna
much
be
about it
in.
either, but like those memes, they drew me
I want to
in.
be in on the memes.
I want to understand from a deeper level.
Andrew,
Yes,
Pinky,
sir.
Pinky the Funk.
Yes, sir.
What you watching?
I'm watching One Piece.
One Piece.
One Piece. One Piece. And
One
Piece. at the same time.
Honestly, they
you watch a lot of shows together, right?
We watch One Piece together. Yes.
Okay, all
You
right.
got me hooked. You know, like you said, 699 in. But when I go home, and I can't get my One Piece fix, I watch Bleach on the side. You know.
Aren't
on the
both
side
of those
home.
super long?
Bleach
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
only like
Yeah, well,
150.
he started
isn't
me
it?
with
No,
One
Bleach
Piece,
is up
which
there
is
in, like, the
900
200s.
episodes.
It's 366.
360 is
Damn.
Talk to me when you watch Detective Conan, bitches.
Oh god.
One Piece still has like 20 years of writing left, so
Yeah.
Oh
Hope
my
he
gosh.
lives that long.
It's insane.
I hope he does too.
Yeah.
So
Might have to kill myself. if he
Billy,
does.
have you said what you're watching right now?
no, I haven't. Right now, I'm just finishing up Overlord, the newest season of it right now.
I need to watch that. Stuff.
Yeah, it's the 3rd season. It's essentially the easiest way to describe it. There's a lot of animes that are like this, and some of them are really good. Some of them are okay. Most of them are okay, but there are some that like shine. Especially this is one of them. It's about a man who gets like sucked into a video game. Wow, just like that other thing we talked about, Sword Art. It's a very popular genre of anime. So I'm currently finishing up Overlord, and the main thing about this one is that he's really overpowered, and he was originally a guild leader, and so he's sucked into the game now, but it's kind of like a different world. It's not exactly the same. So he's essentially trying to make the biggest name for himself in hopes that he can eventually find somebody else who is a real human from Earth, and then they might be able to figure out how to like get out. But he gets sidetracked by shenanigans really easily, and I think right now he just like took over a bunch of lizard people just to see what would happen.
Nice.
And he like performs tests on people just to see like if the same magic kills them like it kills people in other shows.
He's like figuring out the mechanics of
Yeah,
the
he's
game.
like figuring out the mechanics of his game powers in the new world. And so
I can get behind that.
it's a good show. Other than that, the thing that I got for Christmas was I got a box set of all of the Miyazaki movies like Totoro and Spirited Away.
Oh yeah.
And so I've been slowly checking those out, and they're just a fantastic studio that, like, their movies, some of them are, but their movies aren't always like the #1 movie of anime of all time, but like their track record for averaging out amazing movies is really high up there.
For sure.
That's probably a lot of people's like first interaction with anime is watching movies like Spirited Away or Totoro, just because they're so popular that your parents are like, I guess we gotta go watch this cartoon movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I think Studio Ghibli has really tapped into like animation for adults. Like they're really good at it without being like violent or like provocative.
It was the Miyazaki movies that made Roger Ebert actually acknowledge. And I think it was with Princess Mononoke that made him acknowledge anime as like a real art form. And so when he started reporting on it, then a lot of Americans were able to like be like, oh, well, a white dude is at least talking about this, and he's saying that it's really good. And he was a very popular critic. So that's when it really started to blow up in America.
He was the OG weeb.
The original weeb.
All right, so what do we got for our next topic, Billy?
So one of the things that I wanted to talk about is just a character battle, actually. We're going to talk about some of the overpowered characters that a lot of people have heard of, and we're going to just see who would get killed first, who might win. And so the characters we're going to talk about, Goku from Dragon Ball Z.
Classic.
All Might from Boku no Hero or My Hero Academia. And Saitama from One Punch Man. He is One Punch Man.
All right.
So let me give you some quick stats about each of the characters in this. So Goku from Dragon Ball Z. He's a leveled hero. There are like 16 levels that he can reach that are all correlate to his direct power. And so the current top one is Ultra Instinct. We'll just throw that out for you right now. He has, in canon, died about 3 times already. And the way he keeps getting brought back to life is obviously people normally assemble the Dragon Balls and they wish that he didn't die so hard, and he comes back to life.
You can die again, just not that hard.
The other thing I'll mention about his levels is that he kind of needs a little bit of foreplay to get to them. Like, he can't just snap into Ultra Instinct. He needs to, like, see one of his friends get blown in half or something, and then he... Like, normally he's able to, like, turn it on then, and he gets, like, increasingly higher as, like, he needs it.
You gotta tease it out.
Yeah.
Why did you call it foreplay? You did this in the practice run, too. I don't understand.
Because that's what it is. You got a little tick. Yeah, tick a little bit.
Stop it. You're turning him on.
I'll also mention that Goku is pretty much well established as a solar system threat level, whereas if he wanted to, he could do enough damage where a ripple effect will affect an entire solar system. He could easily blow up a planet. I don't think he's ever going to, but he has defeated people who have blown up planets with just like a wave of their finger. Frieza. So our next character, Saitama, he's kind of a joke character from a joke anime, but he is just so amazing. He's not really trying most of the time, because when he throws just a simple punch, people die.
Yeah, they just
Everyone
explode.
dies as he starts to fight them, and because of this, he's very jaded and kind of bored of fighting, because he's just waiting for someone powerful enough to like get a good battle out of.
He always says, I'm just a hero for fun.
Yeah. I'll also mention that he was a regular human who did an intense training regimen, and now he's superpowered. So he's used to fighting people normally, and now he just can't even get his rocks off before the enemy dies, and normally one hit.
Yep.
Normally,
He gets so annoyed about it.
Normally, he gets punched with like a blow that will blow up an entire town, and he doesn't even move at all, and he turns around and like backhands them because he's like surprised, and they die. That's most of what happens.
I love that show, man. It's so
When he does get moved, he has been blown to the moon and survived, and he simply jumped back and was able to pinpoint land on an alien spaceship from the moon, and so he's kind of got it going on.
But his greatest enemy that he could never kill was a mosquito.
Oh, the mosquito.
He couldn't kill that
Are you
mosquito.
serious?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like an average sized mosquito or like a super mosquito?
You're gonna
Average
just
size.
you're gonna
Smacking
love
it
this
and-
show.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
so good.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's fantastic.
Best
Is it
bit in the
Saitama?
show.
Yeah.
Saitama,
yeah, so that's One Punch Man. So we're assumed he's at least planet level power. He's never accidentally blown up his own home planet, but we definitely think that he could. He could probably go a lot farther than that, but his most powerful move that he has is called Serious Punch, where he kind of just like cracks his knuckles a little bit first and then punches a guy and they're blown to smithereens.
Didn't he also have a move where it's just repetitive normal
Yeah,
punches?
normal punches.
There's like 1,000 that go at the same time.
Yeah.
Because he's also super fast.
Yeah.
In addition to...
Other than that, also he is like really fast. I don't think he's as fast as Goku. Goku can move at like light speed. But when they slow down Saitama like moving around, some of them he's just like casually walking backwards, just really, really fast. He doesn't fly around. So I'll throw this out there that the final enemy that Saitama fought, his name was Boros, and he was actually very similar to Goku. He had like tiered power levels that he would bring out as he decided he needed them, and so on and so on.
He changed colors as he got more powerful. His hair got long, like Goku at one point.
Yeah, his final enemy was very similar to what I would call like a pre-Dragon Ball Super Goku. Like he got up to definitely in some of the Super Saiyan levels, I would think. Maybe not into the God tiers that Goku's at now, but again, we don't really know Saitama's full power level. But we might be able to find out in April 2019, because that's when One Punch Man is supposed to start coming back out finally after like
Hashtag not an ad.
3 years of waiting. We're finally getting it.
What season would that be?
That would be
2.
season 2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's one of those slow ones.
Yeah.
It's coming out eventually.
But worth it.
They,
So worth it.
I mean, they did have to wait for the manga artist to
Get his
like,
shit together.
pick his ass up. Because I think the thing is, the manga artist, I'm pretty sure, just does it for fun. Like,
Yeah,
it's
No,
not his
if you
job.
look at the original manga, like it didn't look good at all. And then Madhouse Studios got a hold of it and like, hey, this is a really awesome concept. Let's make a show out of this and just polish the crap out of it.
Yeah, after they release it weekly, they have a team of people actually go and clean it up afterwards. So, like, you can watch One Punch Man again, and they call it, like, One Punch Man HD, and all the fight scenes are, like, 100 times better. They've got a lot less, like, computer-generated and a lot more, like, perfectly hand-drawn stuff. Like, they just polished it after they already came out with it, so that's when people were like, okay, they're definitely going to make more of this show because they're still bothering it and just toss it to the wind. So our last guy that we're going to talk about is All Might from My Hero Academia. So I'll mention that, first of all, right now in the show, he's kind of weak.
He's very weak.
He got bested. Well, he didn't get bested, but he took a lot of damage in a fight, and his entire respiratory system was destroyed or something, and now he can only be his buffed form for like 4 or 5 minutes.
So let's talk about All Might in his prime.
Yeah, in his
rather than
prime,
current.
from some high-tech math that we gathered from the show, he is at least 60 times more powerful than his current state. We got this math because in one episode, he does 300 normal punches to beat up a big black man named Namu. And he states afterwards that in his prime, it would have only taken 5. So 300 divided by 5, it was at least 60 times more powerful. We're also going to not assume that he's the strongest person from their universe because of the fact that his perk is just to get really buff, and the reason he's the number 1 hero in that show is because he thinks very strategically. He's got a tactical mindset. He's really good at delegating other lower heroes to like do crowd control, remove the wounded, keep the city from falling apart, stuff like that. So
I'd say it's just his attitude.
Yeah.
He has the attitude of a hero.
Yeah.
Rather than someone who's just trying to like fuck up bad guys.
But there could be someone, because it's all based on a perk that you are randomly with or without at birth. There could be someone who is super strength who could be canonically stronger than All Might. So we're just going to throw that out there. And also, we're assuming that he has like he could destroy an entire country if he wanted to, but he's a hero, so he's never blown up an entire town. He's never blown up anything beyond that. But all of these characters have had a very tastefully done scene where they'd throw a punch or something and like the clouds split or like the seas part like Moses. Yeah. So that's in vein with all of these characters.
It's fantastic.
So to start off, I'm going to think that All Might gets his ass whooped. I don't know. Does anyone want to throw out anything else in there?
I agree.
Yeah.
Just because like he the way I see it is like All Might, he's got, like Patrick was saying, he's got the attitude. So like for me, the point of All Might is not that he's like this all powerful godlike being. It's that he's able to pass on his powers to the next generation to keep that idea of justice going. So like the story of My Hero Academia is he's teaching this kid his powers so that like that keeps going.
And also because he's not really doing too hot right now as a hero because he got one of his lungs blown off or whatever.
He's like coughing up blood all over the place. Like,
jeez, he can only keep his form for
he's
so
more
long.
of a teacher and an influencer.
So I'll say that his actual superpower is he can pass on the second power that he has, where like the power is you can pass on all of the strength that you have to somebody else, and so he's like the 7th generation of this power. His actual personal power before he got that second power was he can turn into a super buff version of himself. That's really it for the most part. And so I believe what would happen is like he stays super buff, then he goes to sleep, he goes back into like a weaker form.
I don't know the rules of this universe, but philosophically speaking, if one of his superpowers is that he can pass it on to the next person, the next generation, then does that then possibly mean he's eternal?
If the person
if he
before him was eternal, like they had a perk where you live forever, then he could probably be eternal. That hasn't happened yet. Okay. But before that, I think it's just so much like you get the power of everyone else. And that doesn't, when I say power, I mean like strength, speed. Like, it's not like if someone else had laser eyes, you get laser eyes. It's more like you have all of the spiritual strength of the guy who had laser eyes.
Gotcha.
With you now added on. So he's got like the fighting will of like 7 people within him, and now he's passing it on to a child who was actually perkless before.
Okay, yeah. I was going to try and spin it as in like he lives on through the next generation so he can never actually die.
He does. Most of the time the heroes retire because, and like they always keep their identity well hidden because they wouldn't want their power stolen and all that. This whole power is a big secret. But essentially
he's going to get his ass kicked.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
If Goku showed up like Super Saiyan and could like, punch someone through the entire planet, I think All Might would probably die. And because of the fact that All Might has been hurt in the past, it's obvious that All Might could be hurt. So because of this, I think that he might be able to stand a couple rounds, but he's going to die.
Yeah.
And then if Saitama shows up, All Might's going to die before anyone realizes what's happening.
They like shake hands before, and
so
then
All Might has been invested in his universe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Has One Punch Man been invested in his universe?
He has never.
Except for the mosquito.
Except for the mosquito. Yeah.
And then again, I'd like to bring up that Goku has in canon died 3 times, and 2 of those were extended deaths, and then another one
what does that mean?
So like. He died. He's running along like this big snake wall for like 17 fucking episodes, and that's why I don't watch the show because there's just too much filler. I stick to the movies. So he got beaten by a guy named like Ratatat or something, and I thought
he was a Pokemon.
And I think that's Cell. Again, I don't keep up with the show.
Yeah, it was well in the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, he was holding down his brother Raditz because they're all named after vegetables.
Yeah.
And his friend Piccolo shot a beam through his heart and his brother's heart, killing both of them. And Goku went to the afterlife. That was the first time he died. The second time he died, he transported this bad guy who was about to blow up the planet and himself to his mentor's planet, and then he died. So, yeah, those were the 2 times that Goku's died.
And again, these might be big spoilers for most people, but
This show's old.
like 20 years old.
Yeah, it's been going forever.
We'll try and keep spoiler alerts. We'll try and throw them out there at the very least.
Yeah.
And we'll try and not spoil everything, but we gotta discuss the show a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Wait, so the only thing that Goku would have over Saitama is that he's faster then?
Goku is like the speed of light, and again, Goku's leveled. So there's this possibility that Goku might throw out like a weak punch, and Saitama wouldn't be fazed by it, and Saitama might accidentally kill him. But then it's possible that, like, let's say a season later, Goku might come back to life via the Dragon Balls, and then he might be back for, like, another fight or something. And they might do this, like, 100 times before the show ends.
Yeah.
But just keep in mind that that's possible since we don't really know Saitama's full level.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm just throwing it out there that that's
Has anyone
very
ever just, like, accidentally run into Saitama's fist and then died? Like, could Goku accidentally do that by going to the speed of light and he's ready to, like, punch Saitama, but
Teleports
then...
into his
I
fist.
think some things have happened like that. Like, where he's like totally standing still, and, like, someone accidentally just, like, runs into him while he happens to be moving his hand up or something like that.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, there's an episode
was it?
in OPM where he's got his fist like this, and like this guy's falling, and his crotch like gets right into his fist.
Yeah.
He's like, oh.
He's like,
So Saitama?
Yeah, I vote Saitama.
I
think
think
he would win.
I think Saitama would win. I think that Goku could come back to life and fight him again, but I think before he would get to max power level, Saitama would accidentally kill him. But the thing is, after Goku like either comes back or goes to like Super Saiyan 1 or whatever, Saitama's dick is going to be like rock hard at this point because he's going to be like, finally, somebody I can actually fight. And if those original like weak punches by Saitama aren't blowing Goku away, then it's going to be an amazing fight regardless.
Another thing about Saitama is that actually no, maybe this is. Can I talk about like the beam that gets fired at him at the end of the show?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so at the end of the show,
Spoiler alert, maybe.
Spoiler
possible
alert.
spoiler alert. We'll
Yes.
put up a timestamp.
Dan, close your ears.
Yeah.
Close your ears.
So
Here's where we talk about Dan's wiener.
ask him about his wiener.
What are you guys done yet?
No, keep.
Okay.
No. There's a end world beam that gets fired at Saitama.
It's
and
called End World Beam, right?
Yeah,
Or
I'm
something?
pretty sure it's called end world beam, and he punches it in half.
Oh,
So he
shit,
can
I forgot
punch
about
laser
that.
beams out
Yeah,
of the air.
yeah. It was going to destroy the entire world, and he punched it in half.
Now, I'm going to throw out two little extra things about Goku and Saitama. First off, Goku might at some point use his secret move.
My ears are
Called-
uncovered now.
Okay, yeah. Goku might use his secret move, call Vegeta for help. Because Vegeta's normally hanging around, and he's at basically the same power level. Normally, Vegeta reaches the power level by being so angry that Goku got there first. So Vegeta's probably been like hanging out behind a dumpster smoking cigarettes before this, and if Vegeta gets in there, then it'll be 2-on-1, and then Saitama might actually fall. But I think Saitama would only start to fall if it started having multiple adversaries in there from Goku and Vegeta.
Yeah,
That being said, if Saitama wins, Genos, who follows Saitama around as his disciple, will have probably been blown apart by this point, but they'll stick him back together because he's a cyborg, and then Genos will definitely have like a parade thrown for him, and he'll get all the credit, and no one will really remember that Saitama did anything about it.
Yeah. In the show, Genos just keeps getting credit for everything that Saitama does, and he's trying so hard to just, like, give him credit. Like, no, it was my master. It was Saitama. And everyone's like...
One of the things
It's either
about
him
this
or the what's that guy's name? Licenseless like bicycle guy.
Oh yeah.
Moving right
I still want to cosplay as him for Ace. But so one of the things about this Saitama's universe is that you need to register to be a hero. So Saitama's unregistered because like no one happened to tell him that you gotta register. So everything he does like no one saw it or no one knows who he was, and they're like, that bald guy showed up for a little bit too. And then this guy who has a real hero license, he did it. Wow.
Yeah.
Or fights end so quickly because he like backhands them and they get blown into dust that no one even knows that there was a real fight for the most part.
That's how they sort of circumvent that raw power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, like voting. I vote Saitama.
I vote Saitama.
Saitama.
It is unanimous.
I vote Hank Hill.
Dang it, Bobby!
Oh, dang it, Bobby.
Tyler, you've seen both shows. Do you have anything to add before we go on?
No.
All right. Okay.
Classic
Thank you,
Tyler.
Tyler.
All right.
On to our main topic.
We're about an hour in, I think. Time to actually get into the topic of the show. Is anime art? Now, we touched on this briefly by yelling very loudly that no shit, anime is art. But let's dive a little deeper.
Fuck you, Dad.
Oh yeah,
Anime's real.
when we were writing up the notes for this episode, we wrote a bullet point. Yes, it is. No shit. Drawing is art. Fuck you, Dad. I wanted to shout out Dan for not deleting it. So yeah,
That's what I'm here for.
I want to hear from some of our resident artists. What makes anime art? And
Are you looking at me? Oh, you putting me on the spot.
This
Oh
is payback.
boy. Anime is art because I mean it's visually appealing to a lot of people, and then there's stories that people can really just kind of get into. Like theater is art. Some movies are art. Some TV shows are art. Really, I think it's just anything that can really move you to an emotional like level that's like something you can relate to. I think that's art. So like there's a lot of anime that like I think is really like artsy. Like Akira is really, oh man, that's some stuff. It's not just the fact like it's the drawings or the colors or the shading. It's also the way like the characters move on the screen. Every different show has their own style. Well, not every one of them. Some of them are pretty copy paste. But
those styles have also heavily evolved from like you know, when we started in the Gundam era. Then like you go to now, like
right.
And now we have shit like Ping Pong, the animation. It
Fuck
took about
off.
18 steps backward.
We got stuff like Samurai Champloo. I think has a really interesting animation style. What's it called? The one with the little people.
solid work.
No, it's not how it works. Panty stocking is really artistic. I think in the actual like physical like style.
Panty stocking.
Yeah.
Yeah, with garter belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's actually really interesting. It looks more like a cartoon.
It's really interesting. Yeah.
Like an American,
Like an American cartoon?
Yeah,
That's really interesting.
A lot of
And the
people
dub of it is really good.
Yeah.
really enjoyed the style of Studio Ghibli. That one's, or well, any of the Studio Ghiblis. Just really, I think, yeah, obviously anime's art. It's literally a mashup of many different kinds of art.
I'd like to mention real quick that there is... See, personally, I think there's like two kinds of anime. There's, if you want to boil it down to just 2 points, there's anime that's for pleasure and or entertainment, and then there's ones that are for profit. There are shows that like drag it out for like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of episodes.
We're looking at Tyler.
Yeah.
Resident One Piece expert.
And then there are shows that are much more like one and done kind of shows. I personally, what really got me into anime, one of the shows is Mushishi, which is very visually appealing, kind of hard to follow sometimes, but it's just like, you know, it's kind of like bedtime stories. It's it's just a fantastic work of art, most episodes, and then, you know, they sit on it for like 6 years. They're like, oh, here's another season. Kept you waiting. And then now that I think they're done with it.
And I think that's one of the things with like passion projects like that is that they don't really have as much of the funding, but they're like they're much better because you can tell that the people making it really care about making it good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I haven't seen Mushishi personally, but I've seen a lot of other shows that are like that, where it's like, they didn't just shit this out. They're just like, they put the fucking effort in. Like, do you remember, did we watch Garden of Words together?
You showed me an episode.
No,
that
was
watched it.
That was a different one because this is a movie.
Oh, then no.
It's the one with the rain.
Right, with the
rain droplets.
And
the whole
with the
time
teacher,
I'm just like,
right?
holy shit, the fucking rain, dude. The rain. Like, the animation of it is so... I wanted...
That's what I think
I came.
of.
With the rain. Not to be crass, but the rain animation of that movie was so good.
That's what I think of when there's a Studio Ghibli movie called Wind Rises. It's about this guy it was actually, I think it was Miyazaki's like dead friend who had just recently died. But so he was one of the dudes who developed fighter planes in World War II for Japan, and the whole time they're like, these shitty Japanese Honda motors, like there was some problems before they had like a surge of new technology. And so he's at the drawing board for a lot of it, and the way they have hand movements, like hands are hard to draw, and they just get these really fine movements for when he's sketching, and he's doing like math problems and stuff like that. He's just got phenomenal hand work in this movie. And so that's like, I had to write a report on this one movie because I saw it while I was taking like an intro to film class. And most of what I talked about was just how amazing the hand movements were.
Yeah, it's crazy in anime how like some shows just have this one thing that's like, it seems like a small detail, but it's just incredible. Like I mentioned, the rain. Rain is just like a very simple thing. But
when it looks so good,
when it's done so well, I just can't stop talking about it.
There comes a point where like the aesthetic levels are set so high, where like just another nudge, another like turning up of the dial just makes so much of a difference.
They crank it to 11.
Yeah.
May I add, from the perspective of a newbie or just a passive anime watcher so far. All right, I'll get to your guys.
We're converting you.
Yeah, slow process.
You're in a podcast all about anime.
Yeah, no, it's gonna happen.
Go back.
It's the season 1 narrative.
What I really loved about even just like those starter animes, those kid animes like Digimon and Pokemon and all that stuff, and then Attack on Titan, more seriously, was one, I love the storytelling. What Anne was talking about, like, is such immersive storytelling, and it really sucks you in. Especially, like, I was surprised how sucked in I got into Attack on Titan. It was just because of a date, and she wanted to watch Attack on Titan, but she was out of the picture. I was like so sucked into the show. I was like, "What? Oh yeah, you're still here."
You were on a date with Attack on Titan.
You're still in my house.
Yeah, I was on a date with the show at that point, and with that show, they had like the commercials per se, or the breaks. They would show screens of like concept art or more world building details of just like, oh yeah, this is how this contraption works
fun
in
facts.
the universe. Yeah, fun facts. Yeah. And I was just so amazed, like, oh my gosh, all the detail that goes into this world.
Every time there was a commercial break, I always had to like pause the video page long, and like I had to know. I need the lore. Yeah,
I love the lore. There's so much of it. There's so much detail and such expansive world.
I'm never gonna read the manga ever.
It's what?
Isn't it coming to an
That's
end?
why I watch One Piece.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like I understand now why they get sucked into these super long shows, because the universe is so cool and captivating. The world building is amazing, and that takes some serious skill and collaboration between a multitude of like thousands of artists,
entire
creatives,
teams, like studios.
Yeah, and then
together.
To add to that is every time I watch those shows, just they were so empowering too, because everything was so epic. Everything was on this huge epic scale, and I would finish an episode and be like, yes, I need to go out and like
Fight somebody.
Fight somebody, work out, and like get like. I need to be ready for a fight.
Eat another human.
That's how I felt.
Not so much, but if Titans do come ready to eat people, I'm there ready to be like, yes,
I'm on the front
lines. I got this.
That's how I felt after watching One Punch Man and also Django Unchained. Like when I left the movie theater from that, I was ready to like fuck people up.
Let's kill some slave drivers, guys.
Tyler also made a very good point that when you get into those like multiple hundreds of episodes anime, and even ones that are just like 3 20-episode seasons, that's one of the pluses is there's so much more world building. Like One Piece is like a fleshed out anime, and the problem is with those long animes is there's some shows can do it. But there's a very fine line between, like, world building and just, like, keeping the season going and then filler episodes where it's, like, now we're just starting to fall off and not do a whole lot. Yeah, Naruto's one of the ones.
You just need to reuse all these animations and get new voice lines
or
because
have
it's easier.
Goku run along the serpent path for, like, 14 episodes.
Exactly. Yeah.
And, like, there's longer seasons where stuff is happening, and then there's ones where nothing's happening. Yeah. And like fighting animes, it's really hard because you're like, I just want to see people fight.
Yeah,
that's how I feel about.
Doesn't that take a lot of time to animate though? So that's why they do the filler episodes.
But that's how I feel about Walking Dead when it's like every episode, we gotta kill at least one zombie, and like then it's just narrative bullshit for the rest of the whole episode, and I don't care. I'm here for the zombies.
Yeah, with that, it's like. It got to a point where it was boring narrative bullshit. It wasn't really adding much. But to cap off the one point, the empowering thing, it doesn't make me violent, all right? It just makes me want to be better.
Did you beat your girlfriend after watching?
Because you guys kept saying, like, oh, yeah, I'm totally ready to go out and beat people up. Like, no, okay, it's not that aggressive, but it is very empowering.
No, I'm just going to go beat up
a homeless man.
Listen, children, the girl's talking. Okay.
Wow.
So, something like I feel like really stands out in anime is when an anime is just following a specific regimen for each episode. Like, oh, this has to happen, then this happens. Really stands out differently from an anime that has things happen in the episode because there is an end in mind and there's a goal and they're actually working towards something. Mm-hmm. And so that doesn't actually just apply to like anime, like you said, Walking Dead. Like it does stuff like that too, where like it seems like they're following a recipe instead of just like building towards an actual story. My bad.
So
the audio.
I'd like to mention like Mushishi is one of my favorite animes of all time, but it does have that like like here's a problem, here's how it's affecting people. The main character shows up, he's like, I know what's going on, and then he solves the problem. It very much does, because it's about a traveling medicine man, essentially, who like knows what's going on and can fix problems. So he just wanders town to town and he's like, is there any problems? And they're like, yeah, this dude's growing horns, we don't know why. And he's like, oh yeah, I got a salve for that, and he rubs it on, and then the horns go away. And it was actually a demon that, like, he's like, don't worry about it. I know about it. Don't worry about it. And so one of the main things is that like that's a recipe show,
right?
But it's got a lot of heavy art influences to it, so that's why I love
it.
Like,
I'm not saying that all the recipe shows are like crap. There's really, really good ones, you know. But like, it's really easy to like fall into like a really just bad pattern, I feel like.
Or to forget what the overarching plot is.
Where it becomes generic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that happens in American TV as well. Like, that's just I think just like a give and take with like any sort of media that you're exposing yourself to. It's like, yeah, it's anime. Like, there are anime that some people don't like. There are anime that I don't like. Like, it's just what it is. Like, yeah, but as far as like going back to like the whole anime is art thing, one animator that I particularly really have fallen in love with is Satoshi Kon. I don't know if you guys have heard of him.
Nerd.
No.
he's like super artsy. So there's a movie. There's a movie called Paprika, and it's essentially Inception done by an anime artist.
That was a movie?
Yeah.
I always see that on like lists and stuff, and I just didn't know it was a movie.
Paprika is awesome. So like in Inception, I don't remember how many dream sequences are at the beginning of Inception. I think there's 3 in like 15 minutes. And Paprika has 7 dream sequences in the first 5 minutes, and it's all because of the transitions, and they're able to transition really quickly
If you
because
like
of animation.
dream sequences and stuff like that, you're going to love this anime that right now I just forgot what it's called.
Me too. Flip Flappers.
Flip Flappers. Oh my god, yeah,
Flip Flappers.
it is like a big acid
Wait,
trip.
how'd you know what he was thinking?
We watched it together.
They whispered.
Yeah, we
I
watched
watched
it together.
them. They
That was
whispered sweet nothings.
intense telepathy.
Essentially, like, imagine an acid trip that you're being controlled on by someone who's really into anime.
That sounds horrible.
And like it,
actually
I'm
sounds
not gonna
horrible.
say it's a great show, but like it is fun to look at. Like
Yeah, it trips you out. There was an episode that just like it freaked me the fuck out. There was just this,
oh yeah, like 5 episodes in, they're like, we're gonna do a scary episode now, and it just got bad quickly.
Don't be under the influence when you're watching this show.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
You will develop
And
psychosis.
Don't tell my mom.
Yeah, I really liked how. Well, one. I think you hit it on the head and the nail on the head.
Yes, I hit nails often.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Ooh.
And I think we've all showcased it as we were talking about it, how much it elicits a strong emotional response.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, isn't that what like art is?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's that's the foundation of art. I used to think it was purely just self-expression, which I'm sure anime could also fall under. Like One Punch Man, it was just one guy who drew a manga, and then they were like, "Hey, this could be a show. This is really good."
But your drawings suck.
But your drawings kind of suck. But you have great ideas. But then there are people who make art and they don't consider it art. So is it really up for the artist to decide or the viewer to
That's a
decide
good point.
what is art? Is art in the eye of the beholder or in the eye of the creator? There's people who would be in such awe of what like NASA is doing.
Right.
And they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, that's like artistic almost to like what you guys are creating and what you're striving for."
To them, it's beautiful.
Yeah. To the scientists, it's like, shut up, this is science. This is what
I
he's
put
doing.
numbers in a
Yeah,
computer.
he like
Yeah.
points up the chalkboard. It's like, this is fucking rocket science.
Yeah,
And
this
it's like
is-
all these weird ass
Yeah,
formulas.
he
is
does
just
math, but in
basic
the long
facts.
scheme, in the long-standing scheme of things, they're putting a man on the fucking moon or whatever. They're strapping him to a big bottle rocket, and they're like, "Hope you don't die."
They're proving the Earth is round.
Wait, what?
They're proving the Earth is
The
flat.
Earth is round.
To quote
Hold on, what?
to quote a non-anime for a second, Rick and Morty put it pretty well when they said that science is sometimes more art than science, and I feel like that kind of it is kind of true that you just like people who have good ideas, not just anime wise, people who have good ideas just have to like think outside of what is logical.
Okay, yeah.
And I don't know how to relate that to anime.
I would
Oh,
Go
so
ahead.
sorry. I was going to say, not to extend this way longer than it needs to be, but like,
speak
what
out of
is...
turn, woman?
What?
Cut that part out.
Billy, I'm gonna kill you. Okay, so like, what is an anime that you guys watch that has like created that huge emotional like feeling, like an extreme emotion for you?
Ooh.
Like, it doesn't mean like necessarily sad. It could be like funny, like One Punch Man, but like, what is
Well-
something that you've really connected to?
Well, I mentioned that I love dark, tragic animes. Plastic Memories is like a tearjerker.
I
Like,
watched the first episode, it almost made me cry.
yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, if you're not crying for it, then you're probably like about to cry. And I saw that one in a big panel full of bros at ASIN, and we're all there like, and then there's people who had seen it before, and they were like, and
And
they're
then
like,
there was
all
me
crying.
who was asleep
Yeah, well, you
Due
would have
to-
hammered.
due to
So-
drunkenness.
That's one of those ones where like
Can't
they
read.
just put all the pieces together and now you're sad. And that's what I love about those one-off animes is they can normally elicit an emotional response way more than like two dudes fighting each other can.
Yeah,
So that's why typically I don't watch a whole lot of fighting animes.
I agree.
Yeah, one for me, this isn't the one that's like elicited the most response would be, but just an example off the top of my head is RE0. That one is another similar to Sword Art and Overlord.
Don't you mean Zero?
Basically, this guy gets plopped into this fantasy world, has no idea why, and every time he dies, he starts from the very beginning, and he reaches like profound depths of like sorrow and like borderline psychopathy until he like realizes like what true happiness means for him.
It's a neat mix of Spy Kids 3D and Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
There's a sales pitch right there. I'm sold.
Take my money.
Oh man, and it's amazing, and it reaches just insane depths, and the lowest lows and the highest highs. Like, and for me, it's like, wow, that is very relatable. So,
Patrick,
Good stuff. What?
Have you ever felt feelings before?
Or are you a sociopath?
What's your feeling?
When I watch Matsu Musume, my dick feels rock hard.
It's hard a feeling.
No, I guess I would have to shout out my favorite anime, Barakamon. Because I just feel like it's a very soothing anime. It's not like gonna make you cry or anything. Just like, I always leave an episode of that with a smile on my face. Like, I love that show because it's very relaxing. Basically, the plot of the show is there's this calligrapher, this artist, who is very full of himself. Like, his dad was a calligrapher as well, so he's like, oh, I came from royalty or whatever. Like, I'm the greatest. But then he's at this art show, and this old dude is just like, yeah, this is nothing. This is just like elementary bullshit. And he's like real mad. He punches this old dude in the face. And basically, as punishment, his dad's like, you gotta spend some time like finding yourself. So he sends him to this like remote island where there's just like this small community of people.
It's like a backwater town.
Yeah, it's like
the Japanese version of hillbillies.
Yeah, essentially. And so he just spends a lot of time like finding himself and, you know, talking to the locals and everything, and he just really comes into his own, and I love that like character building that it has, where I feel like the character isn't just like remaining stagnant.
Right.
Yeah.
He's a very dynamic character.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So,
cool.
That's really cool.
That's definitely a man versus self kind of story.
Yeah, for sure.
That's beautiful. What about you, Em?
So you're going to hear me a lot through this podcast always like reference Steins Gate because it's one of my favorites in my top 3 probably.
Which one?
Steins Gate.
Steins.
It's about time travel.
Yeah, and stuff like that. But I think like I really liked it because like towards the end you feel the exhaustion the character's feeling, that like he has to almost constantly be moving to go back in time to try to find out every single possible scenario that could possibly save his friend's life. And then when he like figures that out, it's like, shit, the person I love is gonna die. And he had like, it's basically like this acceptance. He has to like accept, it's like he's gonna lose someone. What's best for the world?
Yeah.
You know?
He has to go back and fix things, and then fix those things that he fucked up, and then fix them again. Like, it's very
But you really feel, I feel like you really feel that emotional exhaustion in it by the end. It's like he's tired, like he's like he's been through a lot, you know?
Yeah.
The same kind of feeling comes up in ReZero when he's finally made it so far, and then like all of a sudden he's knifed, and he's like, oh my god, I'm all the way back at the fucking beginning. I don't even remember what I did. Like,
It's crazy, but like, as far as like just the overarching narrative, it's like, it's so satisfying to finally see like this character has struggled so much to achieve what they've tried to achieve, and then it just all comes together. Like,
it usually just starts from like a beginning, like a very innocent beginning. He just like for Steins Gate, he just wanted to figure out how to do time travel.
Yeah.
He just wanted to be a mad scientist.
those are the best origin stories where it's something simple, and then like, boom, we got material for days afterwards.
Yeah, and the rabbit hole just goes so deep.
Tyler, do you feel emotions sometimes?
I mean, I feel tons of emotions. I just like to hide them away most of the time.
What's one piece of your emotions?
Wow. But the one that probably made me cry the most recent was a little slice of life anime called Toradora.
Oh,
that one.
That's a good one.
Oh, it tugged at some heartstrings there.
I don't think I've seen that one. Can you describe it a little bit?
It's a school slice of life anime. You know, you got your normal little romance. It's about a little girl, not a little girl, she's just a girl who is very small.
A lolly.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
No.
high school girl that is
say
just,
the L
she's
word
picked on
here.
for being very short.
Yeah, she's picked on for being very short, and that just makes her angry. And then there's this really sweet, but since his dad looked like a thug, he looks like a thug. High school boy that lives right next door to her, and he, they eventually,
Fuck.
no.
I think at the end,
Yeah, they eventually,
Well,
hang out
spoilers.
together, and,
I think it's like
Oh, is that one of the first? Okay, never mind. Keep
yeah,
going.
they
Yes.
eventually hang out together and develop a nice friendship, and it just tugged on some good heartstrings.
yeah,
That sounds nice.
that was a good one.
That sounds really nice.
Well, One Piece tries to get me to cry all the time, but I'm not Tyler. So I hold
Shots
it all.
fired.
I hold it all in like a real person.
Like a big boy.
Hey.
And eventually choke somebody. You know.
Oh, wait. Andrew,
No.
so you're a rapist. When you watched shows
God.
like Samurai Champloo,
Rapper.
No, rapist.
Go on.
I'm the rapist.
when you watch
Oh my
shows
God.
like Samurai Champloo, though, did that make you want to start like freestyling or anything a little bit more than you already were at the time, or?
Because the hip hop aspects.
Yeah, because there's a lot of urban
There's a lot of
hip-hop in that.
instrumentals, and yeah, I'd say so.
Like, I forget the name of the dude who did the intro for that, but he also has a lot of really good just free beats that like I played with him when I was in the shower and shit, and I don't know, I feel like you might not have like an emotional response, but you might be able to like, channel it into work or channel it into working out or something
Right.
that's not always purely emotional.
It can inspire you to do more.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say there's definitely parts in One Piece where I'm just like grinning like a fucking child. I'm just happy for no apparent reason. It's not like it's affecting my life, but at some point it's just like, oh, I'm happy that it was written this way.
Yeah,
Yes.
because
I
you
feel
have
that.
you're emotionally invested, and it's the same thing with Attack on Titan for Dan, like feeling like motivated. Same thing for me, Assassination Classroom, like
Yeah.
being inspired into.
Well, also,
being a
Digimon
teacher.
made me cry as a kid.
Digimon got heavy.
Oh,
Yeah, dude.
guys.
Season
that
3
shit
of
got
Digimon, dude, that turned dark fast.
Yeah.
I was like, oh boy.
I've got like
Crazy.
deep emotional issues. And like,
Thanks for
I don't know why.
And a podcast.
Yeah. I don't know why this happens. It's like super embarrassing, but I'm willing to admit it to the podcast and to the viewers. But I like, for some reason in Pokemon, when a Pokemon evolves, like I get really teary-eyed. I don't know why. And it's really embarrassing, but for some reason that connects
Yeah.
with me.
What
Like
about when they
Butterfree?
just
Any of
froze
the
it?
Pokemon. It doesn't even have to be a Pokemon I know.
No, but I'm talking about that episode when Ash had his.
Yeah, that was
free.
sad. That was pretty sad.
Why does Ash set all of his fucking Pokemon free? By the
Yeah,
end of the
that's
first
pretty
season,
stupid.
he has like 5, but he's caught like.
Yeah, but he's like hoarding like
20.
500 in
Because
like
he's only
his
got
Pokebox.
5 Pokeballs. Like,
You can put him with Professor Oak. He doesn't have to
Dude,
release
Be-
him.
Butterfree just wanted to love another Butterfree. Suck my
I always
dick.
wondered.
Listen, fuckos.
I always wondered how much would a fucking Pokeball cost, because like it's a
about,
trans-dimensional
120
fucking thing.
No, it's $100. It's $100.
$300.
Dude, he has a good point, though.
That's-
Like,
that's
and
true.
you just
Some
like
serious
give them
tech.
to a kid,
Yeah.
like
300 $.
Poke units. You
Pokemon
played the
dollars.
game.
And how does a
Pokepennies.
how does a Pokeball know that you're throwing it at a Pokemon? How like what if you just like punch one of your buddies, knocked him out, and like toss it at him?
Your Pokeball is a
jail.
Pokemon as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's what makes it bigger.
It knows because of the DNA. It's different.
Dude,
Anyway,
we could have a whole episode about
All right,
the
let's go.
Pokemon.
That's a good
let's wrap this up pretty quick because we're going on.
We're going
like
south.
hour and hour 20, hour 30.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
I just want to do a final we can do like a 10 to 20 second plug of your favorite anime. What do you say?
Wait, hold on. So is anime art then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, were you listening?
No,
we have like
it
an
was
hour
no
and 30
art.
minutes of
It's
this.
trash for
Fuck
trash
yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Stupid weebs.
Anime is
Dude,
our...
I want to watch so much anime right now.
Tune in next week when Dan is
Dude,
banned
what are
from
you
the
doing after
podcast.
Dude, I'm so ready to watch more anime. Though I do recognize, and I feel like everyone should recognize, there is still a lot of trash.
Oh yeah,
And
Yeah,
we're
that's
gonna
what I was
talk about that in the future.
Okay,
but
cool.
there's-
Oh yeah, cool.
We've got whole episodes planned for that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
We want to start positive so that we can, bait them in, and then we can do a little switcheroo.
You gotta trick them first.
Yeah.
Like Ann said.
Yeah.
This whole show is following Anne's recipe.
Perfect.
I
All right.
always feel bad for shows that like you really connect with, and when you're trying to give it to somebody, you're like, you gotta watch at least 3 episodes because like those first 2 episodes are
Yeah.
slow burns.
Well,
There's a lot that are like that too, and it sucks though because I'm very impatient.
I know, like if it's not there in the first episode, I might never see
Hey,
it.
I'm gonna
again.
be honest here. Steins Gate, though one of
Yeah.
my favorites. Oh my god, was that a pain in the
Yeah, I
ass to
agree
very
with
start
you.
watching?
It took me like 8 episodes to really
I had to
be
force
like,
myself,
dude,
and then it
this
became my
is
favorite.
Good, finally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same goes for books, to be honest.
I've honestly started Steins Gate maybe 4 or 5 times, and every time I'm like, okay, I'm gonna finally watch it. I get like 3 episodes, and I'm like,
I was like that with Death Note as well. Like for some reason, I just didn't like. There's no reason for it. Like Death Note's not like that. It's just I was a pain in the ass. Just didn't want to watch it.
Yeah.
10-second
cool.
plug.
Oh, yeah.
10 to 20 second plug.
Don't start with me. Don't start with me.
and-
Are we
I
just
can
plugging a
start-
show that we recommend for the
Yeah,
viewers
sure.
to
Yeah,
check
just
out?
something like, and this could be a regular thing where we're just like, you should check
Yeah.
out this show. 10-second plug.
How about something we haven't talked about yet? Billy, go.
Fuck. Okay, so there's this show called. So I'm from a medical background. So there's this show called Cells at Work.
10
It's
seconds
basically Osmosis Jones and their white
Yeah,
blood
that's
cells fighting diseases. That's
Yes.
I saw the first episode. Very good.
All right.
Josh.
Disastrous Life of Psyche K, about psychic kid who has awesome powers and just tries to be normal.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Cool.
Comedy
That
anime.
was a good one.
And
Okay, so if you're a little kid, you'll like this. It's called Princess Tutu, and it's basically the story of the ugly duckling. But if you're a child, you'll love it. If you're an adult, you won't.
all right,
Dan, you
sweet,
got
those were
one?
actually all 10 seconds. Dude, I'm watching One Punch Man right now.
One Punch Man.
You've been watching
Watch
it this
one-
whole
watch one.
time. You're on like 4 episodes. I guess I'll do. Shirobako is a show about making anime, and I think it's really cool. It's informative. It's funny, and it really shows like the behind the scenes of what it takes.
Thumbs up.
Cool.
Tyler,
So what do you say? Oh,
Tyler's got nothing. Andrew?
Yeah, I'm pretty much new like you, so.
Yay, newbies.
I
Nice.
could recommend one, but you guys have already talked about it.
Popping the
Alright,
cherries
cool.
One Piece
together.
is a show about Luffy.
Rubber, man. That's all I know.
Do you guys like virgins? How about virgins who've never watched anime? That kind of virgin. Well, we got 2 of them.
Double virgin.
God.
All right. Well, anywho, that's the Weebin podcast. So we hope to.
Did we ever
Yeah,
say
yeah.
that?
Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we are weebie.
I just thought before you end it, I
God
wanted
damn it,
to
alright.
like
Yeah.
let's do our best impression of
Our ads.
anime.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Do your anime impression.
Is that going to be episode 1?
All right, and that has been the first episode of Weebin. I'm your host Patrick.
I'm co-host Billy.
I'm Dan. I'm newbie.
I'm Anne.
I'm Jash.
I'm Tyler.
Picky.
And thank you for listening.
Thanks, guys.
We hope to see you next
Bye.
week.
Bye.